Okay, so going through the next worksheet here, we're going to be talking about some coordinate geometry proofs. So what we're going to do here is talk about, first of all, what's your plan for the exam, okay? So we know the properties, right? We just talked about them last time. How do we actually apply them to identifying a shape from a graph? So when you walk into the exam, you should have a plan for how are you going to show something as a parallelogram? How are you going to show something as a rhombus for a rectangle, right? For a trapezoid, an isosceles trapezoid, and a square. What are you going to do? So if it says show it's a rectangle, right? How are you going to do that? The easiest method is to show you have all 90-degree angles, right? Or essentially that consecutive sides are perpendicular. And the property you're going to need for this is the slopes. And remember, we're trying to show negative or opposite reciprocals, okay? Now, by doing this, what you're actually showing is two things. Number one, you're showing the opposite sides are congruent, and then you're showing you a right angle. So it's like technically a cheat because you're doing parallelogram with right angles at the same time, okay? How are we going to do rhombus, right? The shortcut, the easy way, is just to show that all the sides are congruent. Now remember, you're sort of cheating the system here because you're technically getting parallelogram with opposite sides congruent, and then a set of consecutive sides equal as well. So this is a shortcut, so to speak, right? So in this case, you're going to use the distance formula, and you're going to want to show that they're equal. Okay, trapezoid. All we need to do is show is that there's one pair of parallel sides. That's it. You can show the other side aren't parallel. Technically don't have to. And then this formula we're going to use here is the slope formula. All right, a square is going to be a combo of these two. So you have two options. Number one, you can show that there's all right angles, okay, with two consecutive sides being congruent, or you can show that all sides are congruent, and then with two consecutive S-E-C-U-T, and these two sides have to be perpendicular. So this is essentially your two options. Those are the short ways. You can do it different ways. You can do the diagonals. You can do, for a rectangle, you can show they bisect and they're equal. Rhombus, bisect, and perpendicular. Square, bisect, perpendicular, and equal. So it's kind of up to you, okay? But if you're not doing all 90-degree angles or all sides congruent, you got to get a parallelogram first and then another property. Okay, so let's go down below to the quadrilateral. Now we want to justify our answer, so I don't even know what this is yet. So let's graph it. -3, left 3, up 1. 0, 3, don't move at all, left and right, go up 3. 5, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. And then I got -1, -2. So this looks like, let's double check it. -3, 1, 0, 3, 5, 2, -1, -2. This looks like a trapezoid right now. So, okay, so in order to show it's a trapezoid, remember, one set of sides parallel. Which sides look parallel? Definitely not these two. It's got to be these two. So if they don't have points, you can feel free to label them. We'll do A, B, C, D, okay? And so we're going to do the slope of AB. So remember that's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then we're going to plug in. So we're doing AB. So the first point was -3, 1. The other point was 0, 3. So it's 3 minus 1 over 0 minus -3. And this gives you 2/3. So the slope of CD better be the same thing. C is 5, 2. D was -1, -2. So here we go. We are going to do the same thing. So y2, we're going to do -2 minus y1, which is 2. And the x's is -1 minus 5. And here I'm going to get -4 over -6. And this is indeed 2/3. And so I can say that AB is parallel to CD. Slopes are equal. And then I can say that AB, CD is a trapezoid since it has one pair of sides that are parallel. And that's it. Okay? You can do the other sides not parallel. That's not necessary though. Okay, number 2, I want to prove it's a rectangle, not a rhombus. So first let's do the rectangle part. Remember, if we think about this, rectangle, we're going to do 4 right angles. And then for a rhombus, we are going to pick another property. So we can show that all the sides are unequal, or that the diagonals are not perpendicular. It's up to you. The only thing you can't really do in a graph with a rhombus is that the diagonals bisect the angles. It's very, very, very tough to do. So start with letter A here. -3, left 3, up 2. There's A. B is -2, -1. C is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And D is 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have A, B, C, and D. And then there is our rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to start by doing the 4 slopes. So the slope of AB, remember it's y2, so -1 minus 2. And then remember, if you pick -1 first, -2 has to go right below it. The same x coordinate has to go right below. Minus -3, and this is -3 over plus +1. We're going to do the slope of BC. Now, we know it's going to be a right angle, so this better be, right, 3. It better be the opposite reciprocal, or I should say 1/3. You'll change the sign, flip it over. Okay, so BC is going to be 1 minus -1 over 4 minus -2. This is 2 over 6, and there's your 1/3. Okay, next we have the slope of CD. So we have 4 minus 1 over 3 minus 4. And here we go. This is 3 over -1. So that's -1 or -3. And the slope, the last one, of AD. And so that's going to be 4 minus 2 over 3 minus -3. And so once again, that's 2 over 6. And that's 1/3. Okay, so we can just say that A, B, C, D is a rectangle. Now you can write one big statement. So first of all, what property did we show? We can say consecutive sides are perpendicular, and we can just say the slopes are opposite or negative reciprocals, right? We could have also just said the angles are 90-degree angles because the sides are perpendicular. So any one of those things is going to be okay. Now, I don't have to technically go through and state like this is perpendicular, this is perpendicular. We did that in the past, and then we've done is we left off this last part, right? We said these are perpendicular, slopes are opposite reciprocals, and then we said it's a rectangle because blah. So this is kind of doing all that at once. Now I have to show it's not a rhombus. So I'm going to pick two sides that touch so that they're not the same. So we'll do the distance of AB, okay, which is the square root. It's x2, so we'll take -2 minus x1, which is -3 squared, so that becomes positive, plus, and then it's -1 minus 2 squared. So this is equal to 1 squared plus -3 squared, and this is equal to the square root of 10. No need to simplify, just need to show they're not the same. And then the distance of BC, which is going to be 4 minus -2 squared plus, and we have 1 minus -1 squared. So we have 6 squared plus 2 squared, which is equal to the square root of 40. And so we can say A, B, C, D is not a rhombus since not all sides are congruent. And we can just say distances are not equal. And that's enough. That's it. Okay? So nothing crazy. Just pick your property. What shape are you trying to show, right? Show the work for that property and then make your statement at the end. That's it. It is this because this, and here's the work that we did to show it. That's all you're doing. All right, guys, that's enough for today. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.